Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! I go to one of the best culinary schools in the US and I'm close to graduating. Now during class there is a 1% chance you'll get out of class and your uniform stays clean. So yeah, we culinary students go through about 4 uniforms in a week. You were lucky if you could make 1 uniform in the last 2 days. Now, I just got a lot of tomato sauce on my jacket earlier today and it was my last uniform set. So it was laundry day. Now bear in mind that I had other clothes to wash, so it was gonna be a large load. I go down to the laundry room on the ground floor. Thank God there were 2 washers left, and the other 4 were already in use. I separate my uniforms from the rest of my clothing because they are white, and I didn't want any other colors to bleed onto them. Unfortunately for me, the 2 available washers were not side by side and were a few washers apart. And here comes the entitled student and their friend. As I'm loading my uniform into the washer, I'm greeted with a "What the heck?" I look to see the entitled student and her friend standing by the door holding one set of clothes, which looked like a set of workout clothes. The campus I'm staying at was in the middle of swapping people from the crappy dorms to the better ones I'm staying at. So I had no idea who the hell this woman was. I ask, "Can I help you?" "Why are you using both washers? There is no way you have that much laundry." "Sorry, I'm in a culinary program. I separate my uniforms so they won't get discolored. Plus, these washers are relatively small. If you overload the washers, half your clothes will be washed, but the stuff underneath will be gone dry." "I've been waiting all day to get this washed. I need to work out and this is my favorite workout outfit." "My apologies, but if I don't wash my uniforms, my instructors will dock my grade for being unhygienic." Her friend, who wasn't actually entitled at all, tries to calm her down and tries again in about an hour. But the entitled student refuses and demands I take my uniform out of the washer. I politely yet firmly tell her no and turn to start my washer, which had the other closing. I thought that would be the end of it. Oh hell to the no. As I start up the other washer, this witch literally opens my other machine, grabs my uniforms covered in detergent and throws them in a nearby trash bin where we empty the lint traps. She then throws her clothes in the washer and starts the machine. Then she gives me the look like she made the biggest achievement of her life. "What the hell? Those are my uniforms." "I tried asking you nicely, but you wouldn't comply. So I took care of it myself. You can try again in about an hour." That last part really got me so mad, and I was about to give her a piece of my mind when the residential advisor showed up. It turned out while she and I were having our little argument, her friend went and got the RA. After getting mine and her friend's statement, the RA took the entitled student to the head of residential housing. Luckily, the guy who was using one of the washers was transferring their clothes to the dryer. The friend helped me dig my uniforms out, and I was still able to get my uniforms washed. In the end, the entitled student got 48 hours of community service. Her and her friend do not speak anymore. I guess her friend got tired of her whining. In the end, she got what she deserved. So this is a story from a friend of mine, but she was at the time teaching kids swimming lessons at this big new fitness complex with lots of people, and it was generally an awesome place for people in therapy and those just trying to get in shape. First though, the cast. My friend, the swimming instructor, the entitled lady 50 plus years old, the cool rich guy who has a kid in the swimming lessons, the rich guy's kid, a parent, and the kid helper about 10, basically too young to defend themselves from much but really nice. Okay, finally the story. Small tidbit of info. When my friend is teaching lessons, the pool jets have to be turned off. and everyone has to know this before applying for a membership. Usually, it's all good, then the lessons are about an hour long. But this day, the entitled lady is wading around in a pool, being as bossy as she can be, with no qualifications to be bossing anyone around, and is being so relaxed or whatever. There is a big switch for the jets that's by the door of the room that says clearly the rules for swimming lessons and all that. So when my friend walks in with like 5 to 7 kids around her, plus the rich guy's kid on her hip and turns on the jets, the entitled lady just glared at them like she had been called something worthy of Satan. My friend takes all the kids slowly into the pool with no floaties for the first time, with really shallow water for little kids like this to play in, like half a foot. Keep in mind, this pool is huge, like an Olympic-sized pool plus a whole other section for therapy and another for lessons. Enough room for everyone. But at this point, the entitled lady walks over to my friend and starts whining about how the jets were turned off and that she can't teach with them on. My friend just says that she can't legally do that, and it's stated on the switch and in her membership agreement. That obviously isn't what the entitled lady wanted to hear. This has her livid. She starts splashing these toddlers like she was drowning, and so my friend asks her to please calm down.
Calm down? How can you tell me to calm down when these jets have worked miracles for me?
Ma'am, these are very young children, and if the police have to be called, we will press charges.
Excuse me? Do you know who I am?
Frankly, she's no one of consequence.
If you call the police, I will send you and all your little kids to jail, little pedo. These are all your kids, but you pretend to teach them to swim so you don't get exposed.
My friend decides this is enough, so she moves the kids onto the side of the pool with a 10-year-old who always helps her to make sure they stay put. She's a trustworthy 10-year-old, but very lanky and kinda weak. Now, my friend took the rich guy's kid with her to go get help from the cool rich guy on the second floor. If you live near this event, you'll know the name Rouse, like the supermarket. So he's like a mega stack man. Anyway, while my friend is gone, the entitled lady starts flashing these kids and starts saying crap like,
if I can't feel relaxed with my jets, then I'll feel comfortable other ways.
This is where I should mention that between the very shallow part and the 5-foot deep therapy section, there is only a decline of about 4 feet in a span of 2 feet, so it wasn't meant to wade down into. Just a warning about the drop. The kid helper was sitting in the water keeping any of the kids from falling in, but they were all being cooperative and just sitting and playing with each other, so the kid helper was pretty lax about it. And that's when this so-called frail old woman, the entitled lady, decides to grab the kid helper and pull her into the therapy section where the kid helper couldn't touch. So at this point the kid helper is screaming and some of the toddlers are crying. So one of the parents of the toddlers goes over and tries to comfort them. Another calls the police. And one parent, the best one who deserved an abbreviation, jumps into the pool, swam across the width of the Olympic pool part, and grabs the kid helper. This guy, a fully grown and pretty built guy, has to pull the kid out of that lady's hands. At this point the ambulance arrives. This was a facility across the street from the hospital, and they have to get the girl on some kind of breathing machine. But she was all good in the end. At this point the entitled lady is flailing about pretending to drown and screaming bloody murder about how she was brutally injured from the parent grabbing the kid. That was nonsense, of course, because she did that for 5 minutes before the paramedic asked her if she was alright. She stands straight up and says no like a puppy dog who got a bone taken from them. Then the entitled lady very dramatically doggy paddles to the edge and gets out and tries to play the victim. And this is when my friend, the cool rich guy and his kid, come in and see the kid helper on the machine, and then the entitled lady spots my friend. She walks up to my friend with the rich guy's kid still on her hip, and she slaps her for letting her stupid, entitled, rude, disrespectful kid try to drown an elderly, physically incapable old lady like her. But the police saw it all from the second the entitled lady got out of the pool. My friend says, and I quote, "First of all, you are obviously aware of the JEP policies, as you have been told 3 times, once by your membership agreement, once by the JET switch, and multiple times by me. Not to mention the terms clearly stated on the card you need for entry to the pool area. That's 3+ times that you blatantly violated the conditions, and you are not in any way entitled to any services or treatments from our facility. And to add to that, this parent, the cool rich guy, and I saw everything from the second floor, which was centered on a hole exactly the side of the pool, so parents could exercise and watch the lessons with their kids if they wanted. And you are a lying witch because you were the one who tried to drown my kid helper for ignoring your outrageous actions." I quote, cause this was on file. Now, at this point, there was a group of people by the toddlers and by the kid helper. The police ended up taking statements because they obviously pressed charges. Turns out, in addition to this incident, the entitled lady never had a card or any form of identification that let her be there. Needless to say, that put a charge of trespassing and harassment on her list, plus 2 counts of public indecency, 1 attempted murder, endangerment of a child, assault, and finally possession of drugs. Cause she had 1.5 grams of either crack or weed. Can't remember, but she got put on probation, confined to her house, with 2 hours of community service, which cannot involve kids, food, or, wait for it, water. Not directly, of course, because she will claim later. Cleanup involves helping the ocean, but, as I heard and researched in the local paper, it was ridiculous. This happened a number of years ago and I still remember it well. At the time, I was a manager of a cellular store in a small town. We were open until 5:30 or 6 in the evening, and on this particular day I was the only one working. I had a customer come in and tell me that he used to have our service and had decided to try another carrier, but didn't like them and wanted to switch back. Great, no problem. I'll just go into the system and pull up his old account, since it's not yet been closed out, and activate 2 new lines. He then tells me that he wants to keep his phone number. A little more work, but not a big issue. I'm then informed that he is on the last day of his trial period with his other carrier, and that if it's not done today, he's going to be charged a large cancellation fee for leaving them. This is a problem, because for him to keep his number, the other company has to approve the porting and release a number, which can take anywhere from a few hours to a day or 2. I explained this to him and let him know that I have put a request through, but that he needs to contact the other company and get them to approve the request before I can continue, and that for me to finish this up, it will have to be done very soon, before closing time. He says he will go to the other carrier's store, and he will be back. After he leaves, I notice that he left his old phones on my desk, the ones he wanted his numbers assigned to. I figure he will be back, and just put a sticky note on them with his name. Closing time arrives and I go to lock up. As I'm cleaning up in the back, I hear someone tapping on my front door. I ignored it, because we closed a good 20 minutes ago. I head home and promptly forget about it. At around 7:30 I got a call from my mom. She says that this guy called them looking for me. He vaguely knew my family, I guess. I was demanding that they call me and have me go back to the store so he could finish activating his phone. My response was absolutely not. And don't you dare give him my number. I'm off the clock, and I told him multiple times when we closed. The next day I got a call from our store owner saying that some crazy guy had called them demanding that someone come to the store and help him. He was told no by them as well. And then, almost as soon as I got off the phone with the owner, this guy showed up. He is raging. I greet him as soon as he walks in, with my standard "Hi there, what can I do for you?" And his reply is, "I think you know." I responded with, "Well, you left your phone here yesterday, so if you're here to pick it up or finish the activation, I'll be happy to help you." And he immediately goes off about how he was here last night and you were still here and ignored me. I firmly tell him that our store hours aren't negotiable and that I'm not under any obligation to help customers after the store is closed. He screams and yells, throwing in a few personal insults and telling me how I cost him $700 in cancellation fees. I inform him that the cancellation fees are entirely on him and that he had the option to give up his phone numbers and cancel his account with the other company on the spot, which would have saved him that fee. I also reminded him that he recently ported his number when he switched carriers, so he should have already known that the process is time-consuming. He continues to rant, and I finally tell him that he needs to leave, and that he will no longer be welcome in our store anymore. I just thought this community might enjoy this story, because I certainly got joy out of permanently banning that guy, and firmly telling him that business hours apply to him just like everyone else. He really deserved those $700 cancellation fees. It's a lovely feeling to see an entitled person have that moment of realization that they actually do not have the power and influence they think they do. Background: I am currently visiting a little island in the South Pacific. It's a tiny place and a very small tight-knit community. Tourism is their main form of income, so it's pretty important. One of the things that tourists can do is to go to the local fish fry, where they are taken to the side of the cliff. Fresh local fish is cooked, a local sings traditional songs in a native language, and some of the girls come out and do traditional dancing. It is all very relaxed. Sitting on the side of the cliff, on the most beautiful part of the world, there is free juice, water, tea, and coffee, plus a small table where you can buy beers and wine. So a friend of mine drives for the company that runs it, so he rings me and says come along a couple of times while we are here. This happened again last night, so off we went, found ourselves a table and sat on it with a few tourists. Karen comes along and asks if there is a free seat, and we welcome her. The minute she sits down, she starts complaining about her accommodation. I know the place, and it's not fancy. There are no 5-star type places here, but it's recently renovated and clean and tidy. This isn't good enough for her. Then she complained about the tour bus that got her to the dinner. The food is served, fresh local salads and deep-fried fish, traditional food and always delicious. She then bailed up my friend and his workmate and complained that she was gluten-free and hadn't been catered for. She had not told anyone at the tour company about this. So my friend went to the cook and he fried up some of the fish without batter for her. Then she decided to complain that she doesn't like the fish. Why would you book a tour that is actually called fish fry? Next, she complained because my friend brought her over a bottle of wine. Not fair apparently that she's expected to pay at the bar. I grabbed another cup and poured her a cup. She then complained that it was only a plastic cup, not glass, and she wanted a sweeter wine, not the Chardonnay that I was drinking. Well, tough love. It is what it is. The next complaint was that there were too many kids. Any of the locals who work the fish fry usually bring their families so they can catch up and the kids can play. The kids weren't being naughty. They were out of the way of the function. But she wasn't done yet. She was so unhappy that the singer sang songs that she didn't understand. He was singing traditional songs in a local language. Then the girls that were dancing were only 4 of them, and they said there were 80 overall in the troupe, so they all should have been there. The last straw was when they ran out of forks and handed her a plastic fork. Apparently that is a disgrace and just not good enough. Then the next complaint was that they asked people to bring their own plates up to the table to put them in a tub for washing. I rolled my eyes and cleared hers away, because she seemed to be expecting formal table service. She was then getting on another tour after the dinner. This one relies on it being very dark to run. She complained that it was too late, had to wait for the sun to go down, and it's daylight saving time so it didn't start until just after 8 p.m. Apparently, they should plan it better to cater to tourists. Yes, dear. The whole island will change time zones to cater for your preferred bedtime. There is always a Karen in every crowd, and they always find a way to make themselves miserable. It's fascinating. Thank you for watching and see you next time.